Most reliable cars you can buy that I suggest from being an auto mechanic. Watch this to find out. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see more awesome content from this channel. I do songwriting, history lesson, automotive repair, and blowing my way can do it low vision. Don't forget to check out my channel and hit that subscribe button to see more awesome content. When you subscribe, it's free, so you get to see all awesome content I create. Now today's video. The first car we're going to talk about, Toyota Corolla. The Toyota Corolla is a very popular car, so there are a lot of aftermarket parts all around for it, and it's a very reliable car by Toyota. Many people drive them. The only issue, the older Toyotas had a problem with the piston rings, but as long as you fix that and replace the piston rings, they've still run. I have seen Toyotas of 400,000 or 500,000 miles still going. So as long as you don't buy one in the 400,000 or 500,000 miles range, and you buy one, even if it's hitting 150,000, it should give you life if it's a good car. But always remember, don't always go for the cheapest car out there. It's a reason it's cheap. It's probably junk. Now, if you're not mechanically inclined, like myself and like some other people who buy cheap cars, then buying a cheap car might actually cost you more money in the long run because you have to pay an auto mechanic to fix it. But if you know how to fix it yourself, then it's okay to buy a cheap car as long as you go over it real well and make sure it's only certain things wrong with it that you know how to fix and can fix it to make it last a long time. Now, I knew a lady who had a Toyota Corolla. She was driving around. It had a bad ring. It was blowing black smoke out it and everything, burning oil. And she kept pouring oil in. She was getting free oil from Jiffy Lube, the oil that they changed the cars with, old used oil. And that thing just kept going. It was going. And when I moved out of that area, she was still driving that car. I also know a cab company that has a Toyota Camry. That's another good car. Second car, Toyota Camry. Now, these are the only two Toyotas I will mention on this list. The Camry. I know a cab driver that has a car over 300,000, about ready to hit 400,000. It's still going. No issues. Now, the next car on the list I'm going to mention. The Ford F-Series pickup. Though some of them had certain years with some flaws with the automatic transmissions and a couple other years, but if you got past those years, they were pretty much reliable, one of the best-selling trucks in America. But now, to the next car. The Ford Fusion. Ford Fusion is an okay car. Now the Taurus is known for being reliable with the 3 O's in them, but the Taurus has had a weak transmission. So if you buy a Taurus, make sure the transmission shifts through all the gears, and make sure the coolant lines ain't cracked, and make sure the frame's good on the Tauruses. They love to rot out in certain spots. So make sure to check the Taurus rear. The Taurus can be a reliable car. As long as the transmission does not slip, and you got the 3.0, the 12-valve Vulcan, that will go forever. Now, if you get the Duratec 30, that's okay engine, but they have some problems with them. And the camshaft sprocket and a couple other issues those engines are known for, and they can have catastrophic failure from defaults with the Duratec 30. But don't get me wrong, Duratec 30 is a good engine. If you weld the camshaft sprocket and do a couple other little works to it, it'd be a nice little reliable engine. But I highly recommend, if you go to get a Taurus, get the 3.0 12-valve Vulcan. It will last you way longer. You don't need that extra 50 horsepower to have the Duratec 30. Now, the Fusion is a very good car. I know many people had one and didn't complain. Now, the next car on this list, the Honda Accord. There's so many of them out there. People love the Accords. There's so much aftermarket. Now, you might say, the Accord, but didn't they have a weak automatic transmission? Yes, from 2005 to 2009, they had a weak automatic transmission you wanted to stay away from. But Honda fixed that issue, and now they're better. But never just buy a car because it says it will last long. You always got to have an automotive technician check out the car before you buy a used car. Most people selling a used car is going to sell a used car because it's starting to cost them money and fall apart. So just don't buy any used cars. You got to see why they're selling it. And make sure they're telling you the truth. And make sure you have the car looked at by someone who knows what they're talking about. Because someone can sell you a lemon, and then you're going to have that lemon, and that thing's going to be costing you an arm and a leg to keep it going. Just because these are reliable cars don't mean they are. It depends how they were kept up. And if they were abused, then they ain't going to be good cars. And I always say to everybody, don't buy modified cars. Because those cars mean they were beat, they were abused, and the people raced them or drove them like they were race cars and abused the engine and wore them down faster. I don't even believe in souping cars up. Did I soup one of my own up? Yes. but that ain't a daily driver. You don't want to soup up a daily driver because it makes it more unreliable. You want to try and keep it as factory stock as you can to make them reliable. Some little mods might help make it better, but you don't want to go all crazy and stuff like that. Now, the next car on the list, the Honda Civic. I have seen them 300,000-400,000 miles, and people love those little cars. They get very good gas mileage, they're more sportier, they're more compact than the Accord, and people just love those cars. Now, the next car I'm going to put on the list. The old Oldsmobile Cutlasses. You can't get them no more, but I want to give a shout out to them. They were real good cars back in the day. Real reliable, real good. Now, the next car on the list I'm going to put, you're probably going to be wondering what it is. The Toyota Celica. They are pretty much the same as the Toyota Corolla. Highly recommend getting one if you haven't yet. Next car on the list. I have seen one of these in a car wreck and the people walked out. But make sure to read the last 4 digits of the VIN and make sure it is not the ones that were recalled. Some of them are very bad vehicles and you don't want them. The Ford Freestar and Windstar minivan. They were pretty good vans but had a weak automatic transmission with certain engines. Well, if you got the 3.8, the 3.8 was known for head gasket issues, but if you get one with pretty low miles, well kept up, and you had a good mechanic that could change the head gasket right when you first get it before it even becomes an issue, that will last you a pretty long time. I know a friend that got rear-ended by a big truck and their kids and them walked out and never got hurt. Now, the Windstars are known for an axle defect, or the axle can snap on half of the vehicle and cause it to flip. Now, you do not want to get the ones made in a certain factory. You want to get the California ones that were built in California. It was a plant that built some of them in California. That's the one you want. That's one that does not have the axle defect. Now, next car on the list. Volkswagen Jetta 5-speed. You do not want the Volkswagen Jetta automatic. A lot of them have automatic transmission issues. And with an automatic transmission, when they fail, they can cost a fortune. Being a front-wheel drive, you have to pull so much stuff out to get that tranny swapped. Now, if you know how to do it yourself, that's fine. In a couple of hours, you got the motor and tranny changed. They sometimes have to drop the whole motor and tranny out together. Depends on the situation, what's in your way. Sometimes you can just separate the transmission, just drop it. Sometimes it's easier to pull it all right out. The automatic transmissions are known to go, and I know I'm going to get some comments, but not all transmissions are bad. It also depends on how the car is driven and kept up. I'm sure there's some good automatic transmissions in them. The Jettas are pretty okay cars. Just like the Tauruses. I had a Taurus a while back, and that thing went over 400,000 miles before it blew. And that tranny stayed up, but it all depends how a car is kept up. Just because I'm giving you this list, it don't mean go out and buy these cars. You can if you want, but what I'm trying to say is don't ever just go out and buy a car because you like it. Oh, this car looks cool, it looks pretty, it looks clean, it has no rust. Oh, it's going to run great, this is beautiful, this person said it's nothing wrong with it. Don't trust the man or woman selling you a car. They will tell you what they want you to hear to get that car off their hand. It could be a lemon. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a bonus. Things to look for when looking at buying a used car. Is there mud caked up in the door jamb? Is there signs of mud or rust up behind the dash against the firewall? If so, chances are that could have been a flood car, and I will walk away from it. Next, does the gap on both sides of the hood match the same way and the gaps around the doors? If not, that could have been a car wreck, and I will walk away from it. Next, go look at the tires, see if they're evenly across from each other. If not, that could be a sign of a bent frame, and I will walk away. Next, does the vehicle overheat pretty fast while idling, and the guy says it just does that because you're not driving it? Walk away from it immediately. Next, does the car pour any smoke out of it? Black smoke can just be a PCV valve that's clogged. I have seen it. I never believed it myself till somebody brought me a car and it was smoking, and like, hey, this is smoking, I don't know why. I said, well, we're going to try the smallest thing first, but I really don't think it's it, but I'm going to give it a shot in the dark. Go get a $5 PCV valve down at the auto parts store. They went and got the $5 PCV valve, and guess what? The car was done smoking, it ran perfect like a champ. Sometimes PCV valve can cause a car to burn oil and run junky. But never buy a car that smokes in general. Don't ever buy one. It could be way worse. It could be an engine ready to blow. Bluish white is usually the head gasket and stuff like that. Black smoke is either too much rich fuel or oil being burnt. You could be getting too much gas into the engine by a vacuum leak or something, or you can be having an oil consumption problem that's burning oil. Now, the next thing you want to look at is the engine light on. In some states, a vehicle will not pass if the engine light is on. So I suggest bringing an engine light reader tool, an automotive scanner tool, and hook it up to your vehicle. You can get it at Walmart for $20-some, and it's good to have because you can hit recode and it will tell you what the code is. Next, make sure the frame is solid. I have seen some guys who will Bondo but put metal flakes in it so it looks like it's real metal and the magnet sticks to it, but it's Bondo, so a couple months later the car falls apart just for them to get it off their hands. Nobody should screw anyone on a car. People should be honest, but sometimes it happens in life. Now, the bonus point. One car I'm going to give that I feel is very reliable that I highly recommend is Hyundai Sonata. Hyundai has come such a long day from their day. Back in the day they were junkier, but today they have came way better than back in the day. I hope these cars help you, and the little lesson I gave you, don't just because I say they're good cars, go out and buy one. You still want to have it looked at by an auto mechanic to make sure. And here's another tip. If you can, try and get a non-interference engine. An interference engine, if the timing belt snaps or the camshaft sprocket snaps, the engine will destroy itself with catastrophic failure. But if you have a non-interference engine and a timing belt or timing chain lets go, no damage happens. You just replace the belt and chain, and the vehicle will start right back up. But I will see you all in the next cool video. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more awesome content. It'll blow your mind like I can do it. Low Vision. See you in the next video.
Video. Stop recording video.